I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I am privileged to be recording this podcast today, the Camaragal of the Eora Nation, and I would like to recognise their elders past and present.
Good morning and welcome back to another special episode of the Great Minds Growth Distillery podcast. I'm here with the always delightful Aimee Buchanan, the Chief Executive Officer of GroupM. And we are going to get a very brief peer into the world of Adland according to Aimee.
No pressure.
No pressure. So Aimee, what's the biggest idea in advertising right now?
Biggest idea in advertising right now. Oh, look, I think you'd be mad not to talk about AI in that answer. And I'm sure that's been a frequented answer, but I think everyone's grappling with how do we use it?
Yep.
How does it improve our industry? How does it improve our communication to consumers and ultimately customer experience?
Yep.
And I think that is the thing that is taking a lot of our energy and focus.
And what's your perspective? I mean, there's a spectrum from hell's freezing over through to this is just like Microsoft Excel was in finance. This is going to be the next level of horsepower. Where do you sit?
It's the computer advent of
that is exactly what it is.
Look, I'm excited because I think like all these things, evolution gives us the opportunity to improve how we work.
Yep.
But it's ultimately about the inputs you put into it.
Yeah.
So I think cautious, excited.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, always.
I love it. The boldest claim you've heard this week?
Boldest claim I've heard this week is that inflation for TV audiences is, in some demos will be up 20% next year.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out how we navigate that, but that's what I know.
Okay. What's something we're all buying into that you think is absolute rubbish?
The Metaverse.
Yeah, great. Why?
Oh, look, not that we shouldn't be thinking about it, but it reminds me a bit of the year of the mobile.
Yeah.
We're like 5 years too early. And it's a 5-year plan, not a what are we doing tomorrow?
Yeah. And I think we've got to let consumers catch up with us.
We've got to let the infrastructure and the technology catch up. Consumers can't experience Metaverse outside of the ad industry.
Yeah.
We're talking to ourselves.
What should marketers and advertisers be paying attention to right now?
Look, for me, it's the age-old short and long of it. And I think it's never been more important in the current economic climate that we don't get distracted or consumed wholeheartedly into what's happening right now and how we're driving growth in for most categories, what has been a quite tough year against the last 2 years, give or take a few categories. And I think never before has been more important to be thinking about a longer-term strategy and convincing boards, exec suites about investing in brand.
I'm a huge advocate of investing in the long, so I couldn't agree more. On the other side of the coin, what shouldn't we be paying attention to?
I don't know if it shouldn't be paying attention to, but I have a little bit of a dislike.
Ooh, okay.
This is a bit controversial. It could get into trouble. I think we have a habit in our industry of changing the label on something and getting quite excited about it. So the one that I'm like, it took me quite a long time to get my head around was it attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, is that just engagement? Is it just quality? Yeah, like why can't we just stick to our knitting on what we call something and think about how we use it differently rather than relabeling and trying to start again?
Does everything need to be game changing?
No.
How many games are we playing?
Because there's a lot of buzzwords.
Yeah. What excites you most about the year to come?
For me personally, I think it's probably where I'm at in my journey in this role. I've done a good 18, 19 months in. I feel like I've got the right team around me. I feel like we've put a clear delineation of what our big bets are and what we're passionate about and how we ultimately live up to the GroupM vision, which is around being responsible for shaping the next year of advertising where media works better for people.
Yep.
And I think about that and I go, I feel like we're at the moment we can really capitalize and deliver on that with the people, capability and infrastructure that we've got.
What a great thing to be excited about.
Yeah.
And full points for giving a personally oriented answer.
Yeah, I go to work every day genuinely excited by the team and the people around me. And I think that's why you work in this industry. Yeah.
What keeps you up at night?
Keeps me up at night. My 2 children.
Yeah.
To be really honest, the thing that genuinely could make me lose sleep is staff well-being. I think, with these roles comes the privilege of working in some incredible brands and businesses. And it's why I think I've done this for over 20 years. Not going to specify how many over 20, but a few. But the thing that weighs heavily on my shoulders is that I feel like I've got the responsibility of 1,000 people that I'm carrying, and their well-being and the pressure that they're under is probably the thing that keeps me up at night.
And I'd love to get your insight. What's the approach that you've taken? What do you look out for, and how have you insulated your people against, what is becoming an ever scarier world?
I mean, look, I think it's a full cycle. You have to have the tough conversations with clients about remuneration to get resourcing right so that the workload is right. Yep. We don't get that right every time. This isn't me advocating with solve for this, because it's a big issue. I think you get the resourcing right, the work pressures are right, and that makes a more sustainable workload for people. You've got to pay them properly. There's a lot of scrutiny in the market around how we pay our people and reward them. In an economic climate that we're in, people being able to make ends meet and support them. So some things that we've done, all the normal things, but we've small things like we've covered the super increase for people this year. We've done that for 3 consecutive years. That to me is a symbol that, that could have been profit straight back into our bottom line. Would have been quite nice, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have helped our people at a time of need. So economic, workload, and then all the things you'd expect around employee assistance programs, mental first aid training, and trying to make it a workplace that supports people no matter who they are, where they come from, and being diverse and inclusion. But we have not got this full solved.
I don't think the job is ever done, right? I just think the fact that it's a focus.
Thing that keeps me up at night. Though.
And what a thing to keep you up at night. The state of advertising in 3 words.
Volatile, exciting, transformative.
Really? Okay. If there was a golden rule, what would it be?
You're after some marketing.
No.
I got nothing. For me, it would be commit and adapt.
Yep.
Brands too often sit on the fence on what they stand for.
Yep.
On following through with that with substantive proof points and messaging that delivers to it. I think agencies and our business does the same at times. We ebb and flow. You've got to be clear on what you're about, who you are, what you stand for, the proof points, and stick to it.
Consistency in your commitment. Absolutely. Yeah. Last question from me, Aimee. And I got the grab as well. Your advice for marketers and advertisers looking to find growth this year?
The devil will be in the detail. And I think if you look at what's happening in our climate, we love a headline. So we love it's in the back.
Per the last 9 good.
This screams the headline. But it's, the market's back 2% up, 3%. The devil's in the details. Some categories are back 20%, some are up 30%.
Yep.
And so I think understanding where you play in the category, what the opportunity for growth is, and what levers you have to play with will be very nuanced. So if you're a grocery business coming off 2 years significant growth, it's going to be tough, but the levers will be different than if you're a car business where people are just getting the delivery versus growth of category like travel, which everyone's experiencing. So I think the devil's in the detail. You find those sources of growth, understand your levers, and again, commit to them.
One size fits one.
Yeah, and never like we've seen before, because we're talking about a volatile market off 2 years of just insanity. Maybe it was 3. I've bucketed it.
It's a blur.
But if you go back, we're on the trajectory on for 2019. That is where we're at. And we need to understand that and not give way to the headline that we're all chasing.
I think that is great advice. Aimee, thank you so much for joining us. A delight as always. Can't wait to have you back.
Thank you so much.